Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the beauty, folks. The grit, the heartbreak, the triumph. That's all about competitive dance. So we are sitting down with a woman who just doesn't dance across the dance floor. She makes artwork across the dance floor. She bleeds that art all the way through. She and I faced off at nationals. How exciting. And today we come together to share the real story behind the rhinestones, behind the ribbons. Get ready for the laughs, the tears, and everything else in between. Noel, welcome. So Carol, take it away.
Noel, I just want to introduce you. Noel Esperance is a 5-year Pro-Am dancer, both at the regional, national, and world competitor. She has a doctorate in art, psychotherapy, and family counseling, and has also a side business with Third Coast Sparkles out of the Wisconsin Green Bay Fred Astaire Dance Studios. We see you in the limelight, my friend, and we're so happy to have you on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we could finally all get our dates together. And
So, Noel, we kind of wanted to start kind of at the beginning. And I think one of the things that connected you and I initially is Petrosian Designs, Eric and Margarita. And one of the things Carol and I were, talking about right before we got on with you is, oh my gosh, we need to actually talk about all your costuming. Everything is beautiful. It's bright. It's vibrant. It catches the eye of everyone who's watching. As you know, I know Eric and Margarita very, very well. I'm so interested to know, what is your process when you're choosing your beautiful and amazing costumes, your dresses?
Well, I would say there's definitely a lot of collaboration going on, because a lot of the times Vlad and I get sucked into these videos, what's on Fashion Week this week, or what's this texture, or look at the sleeves this girl has. And then we kind of start brewing up an idea, and then I bring it to Margarita. And because we've gotten to be such good friends, Margarita and Eric, and I mean, you know how they are. I mean, right when I met them, I said, oh, you have to meet Kimmy. You guys will have so much fun together. They really do get to know you and work with you and understand your aesthetic and like what you're comfortable with. And I would say that my style and aesthetic with dance has always been kind of unique and kind of different. I always want to look a little bit different going on the floor. But when I first started, you definitely have it. When you first start dancing, you have a different idea. And then as I've evolved and trained and gone to a lot of different competitions, now I have a different style of who I want to be on the dance floor. And Margarita, especially too, she just like gets it. So I mean, even one day, all the boys were out of town. Eric was somewhere, Vlad was somewhere, whatever. And I said to Margarita, let's do something bad and just design a dress without either of them, and just
Another question: Does Vlad have input on what you design and what you want to wear? Is he?
Definitely. I mean, he's really good. He's so good with ideas about anything fashion. So I'm lucky that he's a driving force in a where we start in the beginning with a lot of the dress ideas, because it's really fun, and like he has to like it too, right? I mean, if he's like, oh, she looks like a donkey in that dress, he's not going to like it on the floor either.
But I see a lot of your social postings. Like I was telling Kim how freaked I just love your brand. Like, I think when I see, especially on social, and you post the videos and you see all the photos, you just really stand out. I mean, there's just either your choice of color or the edginess. Like I can tell even from your interest in fashion, like you can tell that there's like such an interest in that textural part, like you said, the construction of costuming. And I find that, and I don't know if that you feel that this aids you on the competitive dance floor, but do you think that that makes a difference for you in terms of how you appear and how you sort of present yourself and your brand with Vlad?
I do think there is an advantage to being well put together in any field. And I used to show horses and ride competitively, and there's a difference everywhere. I mean, everything that you do, and it doesn't, you don't have to have a lot of money to put together a look. I mean, certainly does it make it easier when you have someone making a custom dress for you? Of course it does. Right. But when I first started, I found a consignment dress and stoned it, put it together. And I have always had a ton of fun putting together really unique, wacky, but fun hair and makeup too. So the whole Boyko team, I've been lucky enough with them too to come in with an idea or say like, what can we do? Like, I don't want to play it safe. Like, let's make this look like kind of wow on the floor.
That's the part, Kim, don't want to play it safe. Tell us more about that, because we don't really go there, but I'm telling you that statement makes that speaks volumes, and probably speaks volumes about you. What does that mean? Like when you say don't play it safe?
Well, I think, it would be really easy to always have the same hairstyle or the same extension or whatever, but it's fun to always be looking for something new or a cool idea. And I mean, it's really helpful to see different ballroom Instagrams and get inspiration and ideas from that. But after a while, it kind of feels like you're seeing a lot of the same thing. So sometimes that means giving trust and creative control to your hair and makeup team and saying, like, where have you done this before, and who have you done it on, and can you do something on me that would be like a little edgy and a little bit different, and like just letting them take control. Because I do see some people come in and they're like, they're very nervous about how they're going to look. It's very outside the box every day. You don't normally paint your face like that or do your hair like that. It's pretty intense. It's a lot, right? So, sometimes we can mediate that by controlling, okay, well, I want this bun and I don't want it too high and I want this to look this and da 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 da. But I mean, I think right from the beginning with Boyko, our personalities kind of clicked, and I was like, I want something like really different than what anyone else is doing. Like, what can you do? And I don't want my hair like slicked down to my head, and I want something fun. And he goes, well, I did this one hairstyle, and I'm not saying I like was the only one doing this by any means, but like, he's like, I did this on Yulia Zagarochenko, and it was like the curl mohawk, like not
Oh
just over the
wow.
side, it was like the mohawk. And that was like one of my first rhythm styles, which was a little like out there for a lot of the amateurs, but it was super fun. And all of a sudden more of the curls started happening all over. So again,
What got you into ballroom dancing in the first place?
I had, like I said, horses my whole life and was showing and caring for horses. And I had a horse from when I was 14 until I was about 35, and he passed away. And it was just a huge heartbreak because he was like my heart horse. And, I was kind of thinking about what to do next, and I wasn't going to get another horse and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up getting a phone call about a really beautiful saddlebred that was being abused in a barn, and and I rescued this horse. I spent about 5 years and a lot of time and effort retraining this horse so that he could find his forever home safely. And so I felt it was my responsibility to do that. But the other fact, this horse and I did not really like each other very much. Our personalities, it's a partnership. It's just like dance. Like, I know he liked me, but like the way that he was in the world and the way that I was in the world did not match. And I left him in Florida with his true love. And I came back to Wisconsin for 7 months, and I said, well, I just don't know what to do with myself. And what am I going to do? Like a new exercise class or volunteer at a barn and train someone's horse for free or whatever. But my mom actually is a ballroom dancer, and she's a competitive ballroom dancer.
Come on, is she?
Yeah, she's, I should send you a photo. Yeah, she's amazing.
Please. We want to see that.
If you go on Mary and Nicole's Facebook, there's a picture of us together at Florida Star Ball, and we actually got to dance in the same championship heat together because they combined age groups. So my mom actually danced with Vlad, and then when she moved to Florida, she had some lessons on the books, and she said, why don't you go try it? And I said, I don't know, like dancing is just like horses, but it's like too clean and weird. Like you're just grabbing another person and spinning in circles, and I'm like, it's similar, but it's not. I'd been to her competitions for a couple of years at that point, and
that's like six degrees of separation. Like
it totally is.
Did she dance with Vlad before you did? Which, by the way, he is fantastic. Like professional creds, that man. Like 28
years.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. She danced with Vlad before I did. Yeah, because she had danced in Green Bay with a younger instructor and had moved down here for a little while, and she danced with Nikolai Karchev and Vlad, and
video. Your mom's okay with it. We would love. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the video of us at Florida Star because she actually had a major heart condition that flared up at a ballroom competition. She didn't know about it. It was something that happened after COVID, and she danced 2 championships with her heart only pumping 15% volume. Like she was like literally dead on her feet dancing, and got second in her championships, but that kicked off like 7 months of like cardiac torture, trying to figure out what was wrong with her. And we said, how come this is happening? And we've never gotten to dance in a competition together. So Florida Star Ball this year was our big goal, and we got to be on the floor together, which was really special.
So how about that? We learn something new every day, like as you peel that onion away, right?
Yeah.
So with all her dances and like those styles, I know that you dance all styles of dance, Noel. I was curious, like, do you have like a favorite, or are you like me where it's like you've learned them all and you don't know where to like where to draw the line, right? It's like, but do you have any favorites?
I love cha-cha and tango. I think I have a lot of fun with them.
Right.
So I don't do Argentine or Latin or standard. So just 9 dance and show.
Well, show I saw. Well, that's another thing. Going back to some of your costuming questions. I mean, you have some fantastic show dance costumes, that's for sure. But do you, of all of those, do you focus more on American rhythm than you do American smooth?
Well, now it's combined, but I actually avoided dancing smooth for almost 3 years.
Okay.
So I've only been dancing smooth like half the time of rhythm almost.
Mhm.
So let's go on and talk about your partnership with Vlad.
Well, I first of all, I don't think I would be ballroom dancing the way that I am if it hadn't been him when I walked in there. I mean, I just think like we clicked and had a connection, and he made it really fun and challenging, and our personalities definitely bounce off each other in a way that like I don't know how. I mean, he's actually one of my favorite people in the whole world, and has become one of my best friends. But
What do you, with the two of you recently with your American rhythm? Because I know that since you both like focus real hard on that, I would love to hear more about how when you guys were both on the floor together. And I know Kim's sort of feedback on that, but what about you, Noel? Like when you get out there and you're competing, especially at the national level, what goes through your mind when you get ready to do nationals, like versus a regional or any other competition that you're in? Some independents, of course, as well.
I don't really, I try not to look at anyone else who's out there with me. Because I think that just messes with your mind. And honestly, when I'm dancing, I am really only trying to focus on my goals and what I set out there to do. And judging is subjective completely. I never have any expectations about how I will place or if I will make a cut or if I will make the finals. So there is no expectation. I just want to feel like I've accomplished. I try to set a few goals for each time and hit it. And if I don't, then, back to the drawing board. So
What does he help prepare you for? And, walk me through that process.
well, I think one of the, great things about having that time spent together and the connection that you've built is, and also, this is just who he is, though. I don't think it's not natural to every instructor to be able to feel out what different students need. Because I have said to Vlad before, hey, I have grown up with mean Austrian and German teachers. I want you to like read me out, in between heats. I want to know what I can fix, what I need to do. And he's like, you're already hard enough on yourself. I don't need
Yeah.
to like rip you apart in between heats. Like we don't need to do that, but there are times when I need a little, verbal slap, and like that really helps. Like, so he knows me well enough to figure out like when to push the button and when not to, and I know when to suck it up and when to tell him, different things. So,
Not everybody's up for that though, for that feedback. You know what I
well,
mean?
that's true. You have to handle it.
Yeah.
Everybody learns differently, and everybody, I think, thinks about competition differently. But that's the thing that makes a great teacher, though, because I've taught before as well. And if you're treating everyone the same, and especially under that kind of pressure, you're not going to get good results from everybody. I brought something kind of funny to show you guys that kind of exemplifies our relationship. So it was after Orlando last year. We did well. I think we won 9 dance in Orlando last year. But I love to play pranks on Vlad, and I've had some really good ones over the last 2 years. But I saw this little like jewelry box, and I said, Vlad, we've been through so much together, like war, divorce, plague, everything, right? We've been through it all. And I just saw this and I thought of you, and I wanted to like commemorate how special you are to me. And it really just, this gift, it really represents our relationship, like in a nutshell. So I like, really fluffed it before I gave it to him. And then I hope you can see this adequately, but when you open the box,
I love
To find that.
Can we have one? We each want one.
Oh, they're on Amazon.
That is the most adorable thing ever. That is so adorable.
What?
So
And this
like other stuff, but even before, so here's the other stuff that I want to get to. Are there moments on the dance that you want to actually do that to Vlad? Like,
oh, I have.
I have stories I want to tell, but it's not my time. But the thing is, I want to know about that. Like, are there times that you actually ever want to do that on the dance floor, on the competition floor? Like he did something to just make you want to just do that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've opened cha-cha with like a middle finger before, but just to make him laugh, or like done a nose scratch or something, when nobody's looking. But like, I mean, a couple of times you have a Sagittarius and an Aquarius in the room, both with spicy art personalities and stubborn traits, and we have about two face-offs every year where we just kind of stare at each other for a couple hours and don't talk, or
I
we'll.
think about a week before nationals, I texted you and I'm like, see you on the dance floor. So I made a mistake because I don't typically, Carol knows, typically look who's competing, but I haven't been on the floor for a while. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, let's see who's out there. And I realized that you are actually in championship and scholarship heats together and several others. Before that, when in the past we weren't really in each other's, heats, I don't think. Inquiring minds want to know, how did you feel when you stepped onto that floor in championship with a lot of ladies that you knew, so many women that we were all out there together, a high five. Carol, it was so cool. We're high fiving each
I
other.
know.
You remember it was, I love, that's one thing I love. I love doing that. Like we're out there competing and
That's
we're
a
all
great vibe.
raising each other up. What fear did you have any? Do you have any or anxiety? We always talk about fear, anxiety, and doubt. Girl, I'm filled with it. I manage it. I've been trained to. What techniques do you have, if you have any of it?
Well, first of all, though, congrats, Kimmy. I mean, you placed so well. I mean, you came back on fire after that break. You had a
Mhm.
tough time. You and Arson just, or I mean, you just came out there and you did it. I mean, like that's not easy. So congrats to you because,
Hey, it
and
is.
I looked at the women in our heats and every single one out there, especially in that like all of them. I mean, we did not have a person on the floor that wasn't giving it their all and like talented. So I mean, that's
Thank you.
a big accomplishment.
So
So.
congrats to you. And I don't think we mentioned we were going to do this at the end. We are going to mention all of your winnings.
Well, I
Oh,
danced for a lot of years with Fred Astaire Dance Studios, but I always loved that camaraderie with Fred Astaire
Absolutely.
Dance Studios company, like, being inside of those nationals, worlds, regionals, and there is a lot of that
It's
nice
it's pretty unique to
dynamic.
Fred Astaire. I mean, like
Hmm.
there is as I've gotten more independence and gotten to know people, I've made, some
Of
friends where we
course.
support each other, cheer for each other, whatever. But like when you go to Fred Astaire and I go on the floor with, right before one of our last championship heats from I think a 26 couple quarterfinal, the
Amazing.
woman who took second is lovely, and she came up to me and she said, "I've seen so much progress in your dancing. You're doing so well today. I'm so proud of you, and I've been working on this, and this is what I see and I like in your dancing." And I said, "Okay, thank you so much. And this is what I see and like in your dancing." And we've seen each other, over the years in different ways, and we can tell each other what we can see that we're working on. And like I really appreciate that. And the other instructors do that as well. Like I got feedback from 10 different states. Like I can see you working on this. Is this new choreography? Like that's really valuable.
So, like Noel, one of the like, if we go back to the fear, anxiety, doubt, like conversation that we were having, I was telling Kimmy, I don't, when I get on the dance floor, I don't really notice who's kind of out there.
Yeah.
So I don't really face that, but this idea that someone's muscling or whatever, do you ever experience that? And does that go through your head when you're getting on the floor, or do you like really own your own space
I mean,
easily?
accidents happen. I mean, I
Yeah.
roundhouse kicked some poor lady in the swing last week, and
Yeah.
I caught a foot in Argentina or in just in regular tango and had a good bruise. But that's all just accidents. I've generally only seen really good behavior at Fred Astaire's, and we've just had accidents. That's it.
I would
But
tell you, because you compete so much. I would be filled with anxiety of being out so much. Like, does that cross your mind, or that's just part of a healthy plan that you have with
I
Vlad?
do get a little bit stressed about being gone
Yeah.
a lot because I am a little bit of a creature of routine, but at the same time, we don't have forever to compete together like this. Physically and financially, we're not going to be doing this. I told him at some point, we can just be those people that come in for the championship. I mean, we sit down usually at the beginning of the year and make a general plan. Some people get really stressed out. Oh my gosh, my instructor is going to ask me to do this competition or that, and I'm going to feel pressured
Oh, yeah.
and I have to do it, or I don't want to do this, or I have to lie about this, and we don't have any of that. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I think that there's that one, oh, do you want to do this competition? And I go, and then that's it.
yeah.
Right. Like I want to know about how you felt when you heard that you were first place. I want to know about that. What is your preparation mentally, physically, emotionally, if you have any, or do you just get out there and go, hey, I'm just here. I'm just here to have a great time.
Typically, I'm a little bit of a wreck in the beginning of the day because I'm like, I just want to like nail the things that we've been working on in the studio, and I feel like there's kind of a mountain between the beginning of the day and the end, especially when you have that big break, that huge break, and then you go back for championships. But for me, and I think academically, this is how I've always worked in school and in work. When the pressure is on, that's when I enjoy it. So
Mm.
for me, going into that quarterfinal, or gosh, I wish we could only just do ever one round. Like, I don't want to dance it three times. Like, let's just do one, Hunger Games it, point at
Hunger.
people, get the rest out, just
Regionals, girl. That's not going to be nationals or world champion.
I know, I know.
Woman.
But I really enjoy the pressure. Like when the pressure's on, you're like, well, this is it. I either leave it all on the floor or what's the point, right? Like, so I love that like moment when you're just like gritting it out. In fact, I think it was New Jersey last year. All my heats were even like some single dances were semifinals. And then I had like it was something like 40 dances in a row or something without a break. Like
Holy
it's something
moly.
insane. Like people were cheering me on. I was just dripping sweat. It was kind of disgusting. I was drinking water on the side. I don't know. I think because it was such a big comp and it was all at the end. And I have a video of that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look just like you can tell I'm like dead, like literally dead. And Vlad's like near death, but like that's such a cool moment to take yourself and mentally and physically push yourself so much further than you think you're going to go. And I think that's what's cool about dance is like you are forced to only be in that moment at that point.
Right.
So I
So
enjoy that.
have you ever had a time where, because I know I have, that you actually had to get on the floor and perform and show, a strong front and a pretty face when you actually needed to cry, or something happened in your personal life or in your whatever outside of dance where you literally had to choke back and get on that floor and show that face. Was there ever a time in your career that that happened?
Oh, many times. I mean, many, many, many times. I remember, I mean, Vlad, we're like laughing about this now, but I think we were in Orlando last year and it was like the last day. I mean, that is a long stretch, dancing 5 days in a row, doing
Hmm.
all of that. The hair and makeup. I mean, you're taking your hair and makeup off at midnight, 1 a.m., and then you're back in again at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. Like there's just no recovery. And I remember we had gotten called back for like a quarterfinal or something. And I looked at Vlad and I said, I'm so tired right now. I could just cry. And I started crying and he started laughing. And then I started laughing because I was like, well, there's nothing to do about it but dance. But I was like, I'm so tired of my body. I just want to cry. And I did actually start crying. He started laughing. And I mean,
Feel after competitions, do you ever get emotional? Because I have an issue with that, the emotional stuff after competitions, no matter what, whether I performed well or I didn't perform well, it doesn't matter. It's like this emotional thing that I think has to do with adrenaline. I've talked to a lot of people about it,
oh, it
but
does. Yeah. Adrenaline and it's a major dopamine low. Like your brain releases so much dopamine and adrenaline at the same time that it actually physically only makes sense that the next couple of days you'd feel sad, disconnected. It's like at first when I started competing, I felt like it was that feeling I get the day after Christmas when I've given out all my gifts. Sad, pathetic, draggy, mopey, weird feeling, where you
yeah,
have like
like
one
it's a
brain cell
I
for a
mean,
day
I
or two.
usually, but for me, it's like 48 hours. I think
Yeah.
Kim, you can go as long as a week from
week.
our
It
last conversation, right? At least.
it takes me
Yeah,
a
I
Yeah.
week
mean,
at least. It's crazy, and I can't even have a conversation. Like Carol, I tried to do like like videos post nationals. Oh hey, let me talk. Yeah, I can do it now because I can talk about it now. Like the week after, zero chance. I have like outtakes of me like I can't even do it. Yeah, I'm real emotional about it. I don't know. It's not whether I did well or didn't do well. It has nothing to do with that.
I know what you mean though. I think, but I haven't, I'm one of the new students. We had a guest party at the studio asked me on Friday if I was excited or I felt good or I was happy about like our scores. She said, you did really well. Congratulations. She's a brand new student. And I said, well, honestly, I don't know that I've absorbed it or processed it. And now I'm already thinking about what I need to do for the next competition. So I don't know if I've had that. And she was like, that's silly. You need to take a minute and like enjoy no matter what your results were, like the good things about what happened at that competition. But
Do you think
sometimes
though that's because of the how seasoned you are as a competitive dancer? Because I think there are different levels of pro am dancers. Like I think if Like for me, if I only go a couple times a year, but you are going a couple of times a month, I would think that our like our thoughts in between those competitions or what we look for might be very different.
When I first started competing, I used to come home and write this whole bullet point list of everything I remembered that I messed up in every single dance and that I needed to fix it. I would have to kind of like compulsively write it down. And then like the second I saw Vlad, I would drag him in the office and be like, okay, give me the rundown. This is what I've got. Like throw the paper down and be like, this is
You
it.
would you do that before you even get back into practicing with him
Oh
again?
yeah, that was like I
Oh,
had to do
wow.
it. And actually sometimes I would do it in the airport on the way home because I like couldn't hold it in. And I know I like killed his soul. And he was just like, can you list 5 things that you did well? And I mean, there were times when I couldn't. So I'm working on that.
Like, what would you strategize in between those comps?
I think it's less about nitpicking the things that happened in the competition now versus, going going through the things that'll take me to the next level of dance. Is one thing Vlad always said about me whenever I go somewhere, I make a friend, I talk to people, I engage with them, and he's always like, why do you do that? Even when you're really tired, you don't, save any of your own energy. You let other people ask you for things, you're always doing things. And I said, because there's something about the fact like I might be standing in line in an airport and the person in front of me turns around and says something and you never know what that interaction will be. Like I accidentally had dinner on a I had a really long delay traveling out of Houston once with an older guy. I think I was like 25 or 6 at the time, and he turned out to be the guy that invented the cubicle. And I said, you're
Oh
half the
my
reason I
God.
have people in mental health therapy because they're going nuts in a cubicle. And he said, well, that wasn't my original intention. And he explained to me that he really created it to give people personal space and happiness in the workplace. And then it turned into this whole thing. And I said, that's like super cool that, we got to have a dinner together and talk. And I got, you never, just the excitement of never knowing. But then Vlad also taught me too that it's okay to, like protect your personal space and when it's okay to say no. And I think he's really helped me learn how to keep that positive, but also not deplete myself because he is good with his own boundaries and understanding, his level of energy and how to preserve that. But I think maybe he's opened up a little bit too in the past 5 years because of my personality. So.
Do you
Mhm.
think that someone who's just starting, let's say they're 1 year in or whatever, is there a takeaway from that boundary that they could learn early on while they're ballroom dancing that you could share with our audience?
The number one thing, it's been really fun watching Vlad open his studio over the last year and a half. And
Hmm.
I had no idea, none of us had any idea who was going to walk into this studio, right? It's the only and first Fred Astaire in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the diversity and age differences and level of different jobs and the reason why people are there has been like absolutely incredible. And it's been so fun to watch this community build. And every single person keeps coming back because they're saying, I didn't realize that I needed this group of friends. And like,
Mm.
this is such a cool, supportive thing to do. We never would have all met each other without dance. And that's how my group of friends are in Milwaukee here. All my current super close friends, I never would have known them. And we all met through dance.
That
So
really touches me a lot because in my journey, it's been about 14 years, I have met some of my closest current friends, who are from that community. And I just think that's such an important bond. People seek all kinds of different things because of ballroom dancing, and whether it's competitive, social, whatever, or just taking lessons, there's something about that community of being inside a studio and things you can learn to do together.
Yeah.
That's an amazing call out, Noel. It
it's
really
not
is.
easy to make friends as an adult. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I get yapping so bad I miss my heat. Um, and there's a photo somewhere where Victor Caneo and Vlad they started tracking me around the ballroom at a nationals because I love nationals because I can see all my friends from all the different states, and I was going around to every table like catching up with people and just absolutely zero attention on what was going on in the dance floor, zero attention as to what time it was anything. And so they were taking pictures of me as they went around. They made like a square photo montage of like each table. And then I think they were like 112, hello, 112, Noel restaurants,
Yeah.
hello. And like, I think it was John De Palma or someone like on the microphone, and I ended up like screeching onto the floor like halfway through the first dance, but that's the fun of it, right?
What does the next 5 years look like for Noel?
Um, I don't know. I think, the plan for Vlad and I is to do what we can now and enjoy it. And, he can't do this forever. He opened a studio and, he's got things to do, and his rotator cuff will eventually go out, and, you know, who knows what'll happen, but we're going to enjoy the moment.
My last question is, what would you like people mostly to remember you for, Noel?
I hope they remember mostly that I had fun dancing, and I was, kind of I'm trying to be more entertaining than I used to be. If I brought a smile to someone's face, and also that I was there for the friendship and supporting others. It's become kind of a joke that I'm like a bag lady in the ballroom, but I think anyone knows that they can come to me, and I have this like I always bring a suitcase under the table. And if you need your lashes, if you need numbing cream, if you need
Oh my God,
you
you would
know,
be our tribe. You would be what we call our tribe. I would, yes.
yes. I
You,
have I have had pros from other states come to me and go, I hear you have this under the table. And it's because I literally have like 150 things in different bags under the table. But
Yep.
I like being that person. So I hope that's what people remember, is that I always had whatever they needed under the table and was happy to help.
Are you planning any world competitions or United States Dance Championship? Is that in your future in your dance diary?
Yeah, I think we'll probably do USDC this year, maybe Ohio. I really want to plug in that competition that's in Hawaii, because then I go to Hawaii.
Hmm.
when is that? When is that one?
September. I think it's sometime in the end of September. So it's like a great time to go to Hawaii, and it's
Wonderful.
supposed to be a fun one.
Clearly, you've grown like much quicker in a short period of time. And that is so commendable because Carol and I both know the work and the dedication and the focus that goes into. I saw you in multiple um, styles at nationals, and each style that you competed in, for me, I felt like you were just focused on what you were doing at that moment, and that's really hard to do. We
You.
know.
I feel
So
like it's important to say this, and thank you so much for that. I do want people to know that for me, before I got into dance, even though I was doing stuff with the horses and all of that, I had done a pretty hard, I mean, I love my profession and my field, but I had done a pretty hard 15 years in really intensive mental health work, in
Hmm.
crisis care, schizophrenia, really high intensity needs critical
Right.
care. And it had taken a real toll on my physical and emotional life. I mean, my thyroid was sideways and I didn't even know it. I was sleeping 2 hours a night, major insomnia, just like I really didn't know that I needed dance and the community and this to focus on. And it really has changed my life, because
Yeah.
as much as I love my job and the profession, I didn't realize I was letting it kind of like take everything from me. And dance gave me back that artistic expression and support, and something to be, just that's only mine, that I'm very excited about. So it has made a huge difference for me.
I'm in the financial field. I'm a coach, life coach. That was my creative side, but being in numbers and finance all day long kind of only stimulates one side of the brain, and then dance shows up, and then here it is enlightening this other part. So the same, I connect with that, not understanding that there was ever anything missing in my life. And I think it's going to be validating for lots of people that are watching us and watching this podcast. So thank you for that. That's amazing. What would you
I,
love for people to remember about you? So let's say 20 years from now, ballroom dancing, Fred Astaire, how would you like to be remembered?
I think just again, like a team player, someone who's always willing to help, fun, dynamic. One of the great compliments I got at CCDC was that, that they can see that Vlad and I have a partnership and that we're dancing together. Um,
Yes.
and that to me, and that came from a pro dancer. So that was really a meaningful compliment for me. Just that we danced together and we had a great time out there and cheered for everyone else too. So
Yeah, that's what it's about,
And
right?
I just want to say, and we opened up a bit with this as well, but your partner is has huge creds. You know, he's been at this a really long time, 28 years of dance experience, a national champion, world dance competitor, the Fred Astaire national champion, U.S. Pro Rising Star finalist, you mentioned, Ohio Star Ball Pro Latin semifinalist. He's a Ukrainian Latin champion. And you mentioned something that he's got a Hungarian championship as well. Is that right?
yeah, he even when he was 15, he moved by himself to Hungary to work with
Wow.
his partner. So he had a ton of success. He's only been in the US about 6 years, and to achieve everything that he's achieved in that amount of time is absolutely amazing, along with Nastya, his partner. I mean, they are
Mm.
both just incredibly driven, incredibly inspiring, and incredibly talented people, along with being kind and fun, you know. So I feel I'm very lucky to be around them all.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time.
Thank you so much for being on the Dance Diaries podcast. Like you're such an
I love
inspiration.
that you guys have started this. It's such an important forum because I don't know how many people get together and get to know these things about each other outside of competitions.